Hey guys, Trent here coming at you with another video. So in this video we'll take a look at some toy lots and stuff that I got, and Nintendo lots. I'll show you how much this stuff goes for and how you can make some money if you find these vintage toys. Mainly toy identification, I guess. And then we'll take a look at some sales too. Let's take a look. So if you're new to my channel, welcome in. My name is Trent. I'm a part-time reseller on eBay. I do it for fun and profit, and I take you along for the journey. So please hit that subscribe button for more great videos in the future. All right, I got 4 different lots here that I won from shopgoodwill.com. A lot of this stuff is for my own collecting, but I think at the prices I paid, if I were to just be a strict reseller on this stuff, I would be able to make a pretty decent profit. Because I have the knowledge of what this stuff is, so I can make I guess a reasonable bid and win it and know that I can make my money back and make a profit. But since I'm a collector, I don't quite do that. I kind of like break even on a lot of this stuff. And basically my intent is to hopefully add as many sort of virtually free pieces to my collection as possible. And then maybe someday, certain toys I might decide to go ahead and sell, and hopefully the profit or the value of them will have gone up even more. Can't wait too super long because there is probably a window of opportunity for this stuff, because the kind of people, the age of the people that had it when they were kids, that's where the power is in nostalgia when it comes to value. Other people need to be collecting it. But anyways, let me show you my lots. First off, we got a small one here. These are vintage 1986 Soma little Ninja Warriors. I had some of these as a kid. I remember whenever kids started getting these, they're kind of like generic toys. I actually had like a pretty nice little collection of these right now, and these were just different color variants that I didn't have. But that's what they look like. On the bottom, they've got an identifier. It says Soma 1986 on it, China. Just these cute little Ninja Warriors. I actually have I had a collection of them here. I got the wrestlers, the ninjas. The ninjas are the ones I had as a kid. So there's the ninjas, kind of like the ones that I remember having as a kid. Then the karate guys was one of them, and then the monsters. So there's my collection that I have. I actually won all those in one single auction as well on shopgoodwill.com. These aren't worth a ton of money, but if you happen to see them at a yard sale or something like that, it'd definitely be worth picking up, I'm sure. So these will just go straight in my collection because these were just different color variants. So different colors of the same figures that I didn't have. So pretty cool. Add those to my collection. But I got those for the opening bid. So I paid roughly, probably with tax and everything, about 20 bucks for these. But I would say, 3 or 4 of them are worth 10 bucks, something like that, maybe. I would say eBay sales. And the reason why is because the market for this is not as much as some other more popular toys. I guess I'll get the Nintendo lot out of the way because it's kind of in the way of showing off the other lot. So I did go in on a vintage Nintendo lot. It was a console with some nice accessories and a small stack of games. Paid, I think I got this for a pretty reasonable price. If you clean up a console and can refurbish it at least to some degree, you can maybe throw a few common title games in with it. You can make a pretty decent sale, but you have to have the skill to do that to make sure it works good, because the original Nintendo is a flawed system. It has something inside of it, something called a lockout chip in it, to where they locked it out to play certain region, US region games only, and that is what causes the blinking light almost a lot of the time. You want to have clean pins and clean games and everything too, but basically what I want to do is this is a pretty nice console, by the way, pretty nice Nintendo, so it'll make a nice refurbishment project to sell for a premium on eBay, but it will take a little bit of work. Basically all I'm going to do is open it up, wash the cover and all that stuff, clean up the controllers, test everything out, and I will go in and actually pull the circuit board out. While I'm doing that, I'll take the pin connector and check it, boil it. So I like to boil the pin connector to try to reinstate it back to its original position for the pins, if you will. and then I go and disable the lockout chip, which you just cut a certain leg on a chip in there, and that disables the lockout chip. And so then whenever you press this power button, it'll say stay a steady red whether there's a game in there or not, and that really clears up a lot of the startup issues with Nintendo. So got the nice console, pretty decent set of controls. They're a little bit tiny bit of yellowing to them, but they look like a nice set of controls to go with the console. And then even the old AV cables, which is great, and the original Nintendo power supply. So I could have my complete console set right there without having to grab any other accessories to make it work. Sometimes the original Nintendo power supplies aren't perfect, like they'll show some like fuzziness on the screen. But I'll test that out because I have an alternative power supply just to make sure that it looks good, and hopefully I can sell it as an original console. Then I got a stack of games. We got Jaws. I didn't have that in my collection yet because I started collecting again. If you happen to find a 5-screw of Jaws, which I have found one time, I actually won it on Goodwill. I sold it probably for a lot cheaper than it's worth now. It's probably worth over $500, something like that. But at the time I sold it for like $200-300. But the 5-screw version of Jaws does exist, and a 5-screw, it looks like this. See how the seams of the edges of the games are seamless right there? The normal 3-screw, which most of the games you'll find have that tab on it instead. And they call it a 5-screw because not only does it have that, but it has 5 screws on the back. See those 5 screw holes? Your normal average game will be a 3-screw, only has 3 screws and then the tabs, and a lot of them are security bits. This one happens to not be. So Jaws, common title, added to the collection. Looks like good enough to put in my collection. We got Arkanoid, and I have the paddle. I'm going to show that last, but Arkanoid, it's a little bit dinged up. I'll use it to test the paddle and hang on to it till I can find a better copy. I love that game. And we got Go-Go 13. Hopefully I can clean that marker off, and I would add that to the collection if that's the case. Oh man, it's got Brewster and McDowell. Makes me think that somebody actually used these and swapped around parts of the cartridges to try to make a better cartridge, because it's got like 2 different names on it. Then we got one Rollerblade Racer. This one seems like it's all rattly and stuff, and it's very faded and stuff. I might pass up on that one, just on keeping it in my collection. I might resell it. Then we got an interesting 5-screw double dribble. Double dribble is not worth a whole lot of money, but it's kind of neat. I like the fact that it's a 5-screw. So I'll clean that one up and add it to my collection because I didn't have it yet. Okay, and then actually in addition to being a nice console with a decent little stack of games, the biggest prize, in my opinion, is the Arkanoid controller. An actual Arkanoid controller. So the game Arkanoid is kind of like it's like a breakout Pong style game where you're going around paddling that ball and breaking blocks. See that? So I actually have a complete Arkanoid set here. But this controller is like a $70-80 controller actually. But I didn't have one. I'm going to test it out. I'll probably hang on to it. So it's made specifically to play the game Arkanoid. It's got the Arkanoid logo on it and everything. And Taito, which is the brand that made the game. So I was really happy to see that. A nice condition controller. Hopefully it tests out nice and everything. And that's a great addition to my collection. But that would be a money maker too. That would get close to pay for a significant portion of the lot. So pretty cool. So that was a nice Nintendo lot. So that's how I would sell that stuff which I am going to the console. So I'll probably show you guys that later. All right, now taking a look at this lot. This one was pretty interesting. It's got some really good collectibles for my collection, some pieces for my collection, and humanoids, which is pretty obscure, so you don't see those very often. But we got a lot of little miscellaneous. This here is a Wonder Woman, like, I forgot how many year anniversary edition. This is like a $30-40 toy. Usually it's in the package, but maybe I can flip the figure for cheaper. It is missing a heel, so that's kind of neat. Then we got some vintage strawberry shortcake figures. Never had any of those before. I'll be selling those, seeing if I can just get some money out of them. And I think this little bird goes with this guy, so I had some of those. Some of the stuff there. We'll see if we can make as much money back so I can keep the Inhumanoids in theory virtually for free. Then we have these figures. I looked these up. I think these are Takara figures that make Transformers. Let me look them up real quick. Yeah, there's some kind of Bandai Takara. Oh yeah, Takara 2003, made in China. I don't think I have complete figures here, but I got 3 of them, and I think a few little pieces that go with them. So I'll be just seeing if they're worth anything. Hopefully they're worth enough to where I could just sell all 3 of them in a little lot and get something for them. Then we got looks like a Marvel figure that looks pretty new. Probably not really worth anything, but we'll check it out. Got a nice looking Power Ranger over here, but he looks pretty new. So we'll see. And then like a Power Ranger McDonald's toy. I take the McDonald's toys and style or restaurant toys, and when I just hang on to them until I get enough of them. And we got looks like a Chat May or a Leonard figure. I don't know. I'll see if sometimes these figures will be worth a little bit, but we'll see. Then we got some metal die-cast Marvel figures. We got a Gumby, old school. This should be from the 80s. Probably worth like maybe $8 to $10. And a starting lineup figure. But the reason why I went on this lot, I didn't pay a whole lot for. Oh, I forgot. Also, there's this in package Halo 2 Icons Atriox 2017. I think it's a loot crate or something like that. Yeah. Probably not worth a lot, but hopefully it can make a little bit of the money back. But for this lot, the stuff I was really interested in were these 2 figures. We got Inhumanoids here. So this guy is, I think he's called this guy is actually supposed to have a front face that covers him to like disguise that he's a lava monster. This is one of the least valuable Inhumanoids. Fortunately, these things have their arm and leg bands attached, so these will be great pieces for my collection. But this guy's incomplete. I would say he's probably worth only like 15 to 20 bucks probably. But generally speaking, Inhumanoids are worth pretty good money. This just happens to be one of the least valuable ones. But the pretty good one right here is this guy. So I actually have another version of this, a gray version, which is the Granite Leader. And this is the Granite Warrior. So this is like an army builder style, you know, just a regular soldier guy. And this is actually the more uncommon one. This is actually like a $50 figure right here. So, Inhumanoids. So those are great. Don't see them a lot. I'll show you my Inhumanoids. So I actually only have 2 Inhumanoids. Here's the Granite Leader. I actually had to repair him myself. He's probably only worth 20 to 30, 25 to 35 I would say. And since I repaired him, probably not worth that much. Not as much. I repaired the leg bands and stuff. He's the more common one. But then we got Metlar here. This guy's like a $150 plus figure. You can see he's very big. So those are Inhumanoids. Okay, last lot. I paid up for this lot over $100, but there's some really good stuff in here. Hoping I can, yeah, who knows, even make a profit, because there is some really good toys in here, and then some few items I'm going to keep. So we got a lot of interesting random. Yeah, actually, it's pretty much, yeah, it is all vintage for the most part. I don't know about these little tiny things right here, but with the exception of these little guys, we got some really good vintage goodness. Back here, we got some real Ghostbusters. Here's Peter Venkman. He is kind of damaged. And this is actually a real Ghostbusters accessory piece. So we got those. We got a RoboCop vintage, but he's missing his stuff. I'll probably take these broken vintage figures and get enough of them and make a junk lot, probably. So we got some Ninja Turtles. We got General, is it Trag? He's missing an arm. He's pretty bad condition. So I'll just be saving him for like a junk lot. I already have him. But the 4th turtle I actually didn't have, Michelangelo. So I'll throw him in my turtle collection. Vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We got another which one was this? McDonald's toy, Back to the Future. This is a pretty cool McDonald's toy. I don't know if it was supposed to light up or not, but we got Doc Brown in the DeLorean. Pretty neat. We got some vintage. I remember having some of these as a kid. These animals right here is the vintage moose. That's definitely vintage, and vintage army soldier. Then we got another style vintage army soldier. This one looks a little bit more detailed. 1988 MJ. I'll check that one out. But one thing of note, here's a vintage Lego, you know, medieval Robin Hood style guy, complete with all weapons and accessories. That's definitely a vintage one, so I'll have to look that one up, and who knows, it might be worth a good sale just by itself. I remember having some like this one as a kid, so I'm thinking these are 80s, 90s. And it would make sense because most of this stuff is from the 80s, actually. There's another restaurant toy, Bugs Bunny. We got a cool vintage Sonic, but his hands are busted, unfortunately. And we got some interesting, these are some generic Ninja Warriors. These are kind of interesting. I don't know if they're really worth a whole lot for sale. Oh, this gorilla doesn't belong. There's a vintage gorilla. But I looked those up. Those are kind of an interesting vintage ninja pieces. They're actually pretty cool, so I might lot those up and see if I can sell those. Then we get into the really good stuff right here, these sections over here. So first off, we got some vintage muscle men. You guys remember muscle men? They're cool. I really like muscle men. I had some as a kid, but I think I'll just choose to lot these up and resell them, and hopefully make a pretty good sale on these, because people are going after these muscle men. They're pretty cool. So much little detail in these vintage little plastic toys that have no articulation. Nostalgic. Okay, and then we got some other interesting figures here. So a couple of them are this guy is not from the same lines as these over here. I forgot exactly what line that was from, but I don't think he's worth a ton, but he is a vintage like 80s figure. But we got a couple Mask guys, the series Mask, so that's good, and they got their little helmet pieces. I would say these things are worth like 10 to 15 a piece at least, probably. Just depends, but they're in good condition, so hopefully that's a nice little bit right there. But these are the interesting ones here. These are all, I believe, Dino Riders. So a really neat looking toy line, but I just can't collect everything, so I'm going to try to sell these and get money back. So we got Dino Riders. They're about the same size as Mask. And I would say these figures are worth at least 10 bucks a piece, if not more, depending on what they are. So we got those guys. Here's a couple more. Obviously, some of them are going to be more common than others, so we'll check them out individually. And here's more. This looks like the kid. That's pretty cool. So I think 6 Dino Rider figures right there, so hopefully those are a good sale as well. And then the final, the treasure part for me, for my collection, we have some Battle Beasts. So Battle Beasts are good value. I would say they're like at least, except for some of the really cheap, least expensive, most common ones, they're worth at least about 15 bucks a piece, I would say. So I actually need all these for my collection, except for I think this one I already have. But there we go, vintage Battle Beasts. They're all different kind of animals. And if they have their weapons, they're especially worth even more. I'd say that's probably easy $100, probably $100 worth of Battle Beast right there. So that pretty much is like the value, you could say, almost in the lot. If you were to sell all these, you could pretty much make the majority of your money back on how much I paid. I paid a little over $100 for this stuff. But I'll sell this one because I already have it. And here are my Battle Beasts. So I'll be making my collection of Battle Beasts bigger. But yeah, that's what I do. Part of what I do when it comes to reselling, I buy stuff, flip lots. I see the value in toys. And if you were to do this strictly for reselling and not collecting at all, there could be a significant amount of profit. So I hope you enjoyed that toy identification. So let's do some other stuff. All right, got a couple sales here. Vintage Motu Beastman, pretty nice condition Beastman. That Beastman there sold for $23.52 total paid by the customer. And I got these new old stock vintage Pepsi glasses. I say that because they still got the original little price barcode scanner on them. Those Pepsi glasses there, set of 6. I paid 15 bucks at a yard sale for a bunch of Pepsi stuff like this a long time ago. And this finally sold, those 6 glasses, for $51.71 total paid by the customer. Alright, here's a nice batch of sales. We got, I sold the vintage Masters of the Universe Castle Grayskull platform there. That sold for $11.84 total paid by the customer. We got this Tenjin Nintendo sleeve for a Tenjin game. That sold for $10.34 total paid by the customer. And we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES. That copy sold for $14.98 total paid by the customer. We got the Nerf Cam ECS-12. That's the camera gun that I recently picked up at the thrift store. Put a 18-round magazine in that, and that sold for $49.58 total paid by the customer. We got the 2 dart tag blasters. Normally this sells pretty well, but it didn't this time. So I put those 2 dart tag blasters together, and they finally sold. Took a long time, and not for a great price. $25.32 total paid by the customer. And my last 5 Nintendo sleeves that I have right now. Those Nintendo branded sleeves, $29.02 total paid by the customer. Then these Mega Bloks platform pieces right here from my huge lot of Mega Bloks Dragon stuff from quite a while ago. Those base platforms sold for $12.38 total paid by the customer. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.